With that, I will move to public comment. Is there any public comment? If we can be brief, it's been a long meeting. Barry, you can go first. I know you're not going to be brief, but you will because there's someone waiting behind you.
Well, some of you know that for many years I was the Sierra Club rep to this committee until 9 years ago when a medical issue came up and I resigned. But I do hope that you'll indulge me because I want to give my perspective of where I think we are. We're at a critical juncture in some ways. And I know Mike said I should be brief, but I hope that you'll indulge me a little bit.
A little.
So I feel for understandable reasons, we're still catering to the auto culture by prioritizing expanding highways, underfunding transit, stalling the state bike path program, and building infrastructure for big companies to move out. We used to do that for CVS and Fidelity. We just did it for Citizens. And I understand why they want to do that. I don't blame them. Easy parking, pleasant surroundings. Same way I appreciate having a car. I come and go as I want, and I usually park at the door. What's not to like? But the problem is that almost everyone else doing that is doing more and more to pave over the countryside, undermining the cities, congesting the roads, killing and injuring people, pets, wildlife, spending so much of our energy dollars out of state, that goes to out of state, contributing to the obesity epidemic, and most importantly, contributing to climate change. And also, by the way, leaving behind those who can't, for one reason or another, travel in motor vehicles. So if we want to get better results, my opinion, we have to do things differently in transportation. And to do things differently, I think we need help from everybody here. So what do I mean by different? I mean, deprioritize the expanding of highway capacity, which leads to more driving, and instead prioritize the transit and bike plan. So what does that mean? For transit, it means frequency that you don't need a schedule on main routes. You just go out and wait for a bus that's going to come. It means extending the day, so you could go on those second shifts and get to work or spend the evening on recreation and get home. It means getting the green light extensions. It's been a while since the R line and nothing else has happened. It means electrifying the commuter rail, which has operational as well as environmental benefits. It means coordinate bus and rail fare products so people could use whatever is more convenient. Now, especially with the Pawtucket station serving both. It means a change. It also means a change of culture. It means that we shouldn't look at transit as only for the poor and people who don't have cars. It means transit is for everybody. As an example, this is the back of your state income tax packet. The DOA has told us how to get to the DOA building only by driving. The fact that 3 bus lines come right at the door of the DOA building where the tax office is not mentioned. That is a cultural thing that I believe needs to change, and all of you, especially if you work for the DOA, should help on that one. That's just an example, many others. It's not all negative. The reason I came, of course, I said we're at a critical juncture. One is the climate and housing crises are so evident that if the public really wants to see action. And transit could help on the public in a way that is not just the per passenger mile benefit, which there is. And I'm going to hold up a chart that I'm going to send to Mason to make it available to everyone if you haven't already seen it. That will show, I'm going to say a little bit more about it in a moment, about that advantage. But transit supports compact, walkable neighborhoods that have less energy impact, less emissions than vast sprawl. And the New York Times, I'm going to send Mason this too, recently had a post where a group quantified neighborhood by neighborhood the emissions And that's why that earlier presentation of TOD is so important, because that is missing from the state's, I believe it's missing from the state's plan to reduce transportation emissions. The importance of compact walkable communities supported by transit is underestimated, and we need to do transportation that supports that. And when I send it to Mason, if you want to see the study, which actually identifies actual neighborhoods in Rhode Island, if you want, to see what its emissions are, I hope you'll look at it and ask Mason to send it to you. So that's one reason it's critical, but also we have more federal funds that's going to be allocated soon. It's probably a short-term thing, the way Washington politics is going, so we've got to get that right. And it's also, since 9 years when I left, Roadworks has done a good job of starting to really repair the roads and bridges. That's very important. I'm all for that. And they've made good progress, but now we can look beyond that. So it's important to try to move things in that direction, not just by your vote on the TAC, although that could be important, but in your agencies, in your planning groups, in your with your friends and family. The message should be, we've got to do things differently to solve all those problems: housing, climate, outflow of money, accidents, and land use. And one of the messages should be to everybody in your networks is try transit. One of the bad things about Rhode Island is we think things are bad in Rhode Island, worse than we think it's worse than they really are. And one of those things is transit. I've heard transit sucks from friends and neighbors all these years. And for the most part, if you live along one of the decent routes, it's much better than non-users think it is. Try to get people to use it. That's one thing you can do. And once more middle class people use it, then more middle class people will be willing to use it. So that's my message. And I will send those things to Mason, and I appreciate the time that Mike did not interrupt me. Thank you.
Close.